like, subscribe.
Okay, so this is episode 34 of the No Hype Zone. We have our buddy Travis in with us today to help out a little bit. He's got to train someone in 10 minutes, 9 minutes now. That's okay. He said he promised us he would hang out for a little bit, which is great.
He's been promising this
the only
for a long
reason
time.
is because it's Ohio State, Nebraska this weekend.
It is Ohio State, Nebraska. So, big Ohio State nerd, really big Cornhusker nerd. So, we got a big week this week. We have a bet going on as well to see who's going to win the game. I think Vegas has it like 17.5 or 18 points.
Well, it keeps going up.
Let me guess. That Tracy? Every time.
She gets you every time.
Every time. So, Travis and I have a bet going on. This is no end week for me. I am going to put now. Shoot, I can't say the letter. I can't do it. It's like Michigan week. You don't say the end. Anyway, so we got Ohio State, Nebraska this weekend. It's in Nebraska. Game day is going to be there, which is pretty cool. First time in a long time, right?
Yeah, it's a tough place to play.
Yeah, and you've been there before.
Yeah, I mean,
been to a couple games.
There's nothing like Nebraska.
Tell us about
Playing just the atmosphere.
Yeah.
You know, from pregame to the game. I mean, it doesn't matter if they're 1-9.
Yeah.
I mean, the atmosphere, the energy is just it's dynamic.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's unbelievable.
That's one place. That's one place you and I still have to go to together. He and I went to Ohio State, Michigan State game a couple years ago. Michigan State won on a field goal, whatever. But we got to go to a Nebraska Ohio State game sometime.
Ezekiel Elliott's last game.
That's right. Yeah, his last home game.
Well, last home game, I think. Yeah,
that's right, man. So the game this weekend. Shoot. So talk about Nebraska a little bit, since you watch it more than I do.
Nebraska has 2 running backs that are really good. So if they have Washington, gotta forget the true freshman that lit it up. His number's number 1. Dynamic. He's a little short, little spurt guy.
Yeah.
If those 2 guys are healthy, Washington went out. He had an ankle sprain. So if those 2 guys are healthy, I think they have a good shot. Plus their quarterback is super good.
Yeah.
I think they had 700 yards, close to 700 yards total offense.
Dang, against Colorado.
They had 4 turnovers. 3 turned into 21 points.
We're talking about Illinois last week.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
Illinois. Yeah.
Okay.
So they came back, and that quarterback's just, I mean, he's a stud.
Yeah.
He's really good, very poised for a sophomore, true sophomore.
True sophomore.
Defense is good. I think the 2 Davis brothers are twins. If they can hold down the middle, I think Nebraska has a good shot of beating them.
Yeah.
Which I hope they do, so I can talk. Mad crap for a long time.
Yeah. So I feel like every year Ohio State has a game where they drop the ball. So, for example, last week they won 76-5. So, like, oh yeah, we're really good, we're really awesome. Reading their own press clippings, I hope that they don't fall into the trap where this could be a trap game for them, where they lost against.
Well, and
Colorado.
the thing is, they haven't been challenged yet. I mean, they're just going out there. They're just going out there throwing huge numbers up.
Yes.
I mean, they haven't been challenged yet. This will be their first true challenge of the season.
Yes.
We'll see how they hold up, and it's a very tough atmosphere to go play in.
Yeah.
Especially when Nebraska has a team.
Yeah.
They finally have a team, and it's been like 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Callahan ruined the program.
Okay, yeah.
And then Solich came in. He was an average coach. That's why they got rid of him.
Yeah.
And another guy, I think it's Mike Riley, came in after that.
Yeah.
And he was just too soft of a coach. And then now Frost is turning things around, getting some good recruits in. So.
Yeah.
Shouts out to my man Noah Palamafu. You over there? Defensive back, freshman. Defensive back. Played on the.
Was he a Chandler?
Nah, he played at Williamsfield.
Okay.
And he was on my Pop Warner team. Pure athlete. Outstanding. I haven't seen him get a chance to get in. His cousin is playing for K-State. He's being red-shirted. And he's got another cousin playing for USC. I show you guys that all the time. But because of Nebraska, Noah, hopefully you get in there and make Travis proud of you. So.
Well, maybe he'll get him for some garbage time at the end when Nebraska's up, by 30 points at the end.
Yeah, it's Ohio State. Come on.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, you never know. That's why you got to play the games, right?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's a big game. It's a true test for Nebraska too. If they can pull this off, it's huge.
Yeah, and for Ohio State too. Just like you said, they played
big
4
test.
cupcakes, basically walked through. So let's see what they do in the face of some adversity.
Yeah, they haven't been relevant since what was the quarterback that you guys had when you had Tom
Frazier
and You had
Tommy Frazier.
Frazier.
Eric Crouch, Scott
Dude,
Frost.
he was awesome, man.
What
I
about
love
the guy that
Eric
went
Crouch,
to jail?
dude.
What about the guy that went to jail?
Lawrence Phillips.
Lawrence Phillips.
Yeah.
Lawrence Phillips was
Yeah.
like Michael Vick before Michael Vick to me.
Yeah, but that was Lawrence Phillips, Tommy Frazier.
Yeah.
Then you had the Wistrom brothers. That was back in the day when they actually utilized the fullback.
Yeah.
We had two, I think it was Schlesinger, played for Detroit Lions for like 10, 12 years.
Okay.
I mean, the guy was
Yeah, I
just a
remember him.
stud.
I remember him.
You know, I mean, that was back in the day when Nebraska started the weightlifting program.
Yeah.
You know, so they
talk about that.
they developed the whole strength and conditioning program at Nebraska.
Oh, that's awesome.
I think his name was Boyd Epley was the guy, the strength and conditioning coach there.
Okay.
So they started that, and then Nebraska just dominated. They're just so much more physical than every team. You know, especially how the black shirts played. You know, the Ralph Brown and Mike Minners and all those guys. And then college football caught up with them, and then all these other teams started putting in the weight rooms, and Nebraska fell behind. That's what happened. Plus coaching. The coaching changed. Tom Osborne retired.
Yeah.
And they just made some bad hires.
Yeah.
So.
Frost is
And it's
really hot.
it's actually really hard to recruit in Lincoln now when all these other teams are really good, like the Clemsons, Ohio States, and Alabama. Who wants to go to Lincoln, Nebraska? It's just a small city.
But I think Scott Frost is kind of bringing them back to.
Well, he's
prominence
bringing
in
that
second year
attitude
in there now.
back,
Yes, which is good.
so-
It's good to have Nebraska good again because they were awesome in the '90s. Like that squad that won 2 championships in a row, or like a top 5 or top 3, team. In all of college football that people say so.
So now you got the Big Ten. You got Ohio State. You got Wisconsin. You got Nebraska. Would you say Penn State is a force in the Big Ten?
They're underachieving, I think, right now. They barely beat Pitt, and Pitt just beat UCF actually.
Okay.
Last weekend.
Pitt's a really good team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because they played Penn State tough, and then they, after that heartbreaking loss, then they go and beat UCF.
Yeah,
But
awesome
that takes some guts. It takes some balls.
Yeah.
So
UCF
I think Pitt's actually going to be a good football team this year. They're going to be a surprising sleeper.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but Penn State, I think they're right there, man.
Okay.
I think they're all right. They're tough. They have a good head coach.
And you want to see a conference that's even. You don't want to see super top heavy and then like everybody else.
Right.
It's better when the conference is
Well, I think that's
balanced.
better for the BCS too, because at first thing we
You
go
keep
to
saying VCS. That's old school.
I'm saying the
playoff?
bowl, the playoff system.
Okay.
The playoff system, they always go to the SEC because of the strength of the conference, and then whoever else you can get in, you may pick one Big Ten team after that.
Yeah.
After having 3 SEC teams,
Yeah.
so if you got power in the Big Ten, power in the SEC, power in the Big 12, now you can get a representative from each conference and make
Yeah.
it more balanced. It's not just an SEC playoff.
I think there's 8 teams from the Big Ten rated in the top 25 to start out the season.
There's 7, which is the
7.
most out of
Yeah,
the
so
conferences, which is good.
they're Big Ten's right there.
Yeah.
It's good.
Michigan is the only ghost team that shouldn't be up there. Michigan, I don't understand how they get there all the time.
We just talked about it in our 30-second prep, right? I feel like Harbaugh is behind the times. Like he was good at San Diego State, really good at Stanford,
Really good.
Really
at
good.
really good at
Stanford.
He was good for the 49ers too. They
Also
did
for
there,
the
right?
49ers.
Yeah,
He
but
was
I think
really good. He just
that offense is like it hasn't caught up to modern times. Just like all those SEC teams, like Florida had that spread offense. Those warmer weather schools had really good offense, and the Big Ten was always left behind. They didn't catch up to like the modern college football game. And then now, when Urban went to Ohio State, and what else? Franklin's at Penn State. Who else? There's some good coaches in the Big Ten, but they're
Wisconsin's coach.
Alvarez, Paul Christ.
Yeah.
Is it Alvarez?
I thought
He's
Oh no,
the-
Alvarez left.
he
Yes,
was the
yes,
big-
he's
yes.
the AD at
Paul Chris,
Wisconsin,
yes,
yeah.
there you go. Yeah. Alvarez is AD.
Yeah.
I would say Wisconsin's
Underrated.
really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah, you probably
Jonathan
love hearing
Taylor,
this.
Jonathan Taylor, Jalen Hurts. Those 2 guys. Watch out for them for the
Yeah.
Heisman.
I agree.
Those
We're
2
talking
guys.
about that too. It's
Jonathan
like,
Taylor's 1 step ahead of Hurts just because I think Alabama had a bye week last week, right?
no, they played like
Some
They
people
played
don't.
some crappy school.
Yeah, so you didn't hear about it. That's
Correct.
why I thought they
Correct.
had a bye
Because
week.
you probably only played until halftime. That's
Yeah.
why.
Well, Hurts' mindset is just on getting the Heisman because he feels like that's the only way he's going to redeem himself for being pushed out of that position in Alabama.
Yeah.
So if he gets that Heisman, then he's back on the radar as far as
think about it. The
NFL.
last 3 Heismans. If he does win the Heisman, it came from Oklahoma.
Believe me.
Crazy is that, man?
My in-laws remind me of that.
That's a true quarterback coach right
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
around
absolutely.
Oklahoma, man. I mean,
Yeah.
you got Baker Mayfield. Got to forget his name. Arizona.
Kyler,
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 yeah.
And then Hurts.
Jalen. And then you got the kid.
I mean, if he wins that, that's 3 Heisman's
Believe
right
me,
there.
when I was
and then they
Oklahoma-
all go first round.
Right.
First
and then you
overall
got the
pick.
kid from Saguaro or Centennial or
Spencer Rattler.
Spencer Rattler, yeah.
He's right behind. He probably will start next year.
Yeah.
He is that good.
That'll be awesome to
He's
watch.
really
out.
good.
Man,
So.
and he's going to Oak.
He's there already.
See, yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, he's third string quarterback right now. It's just because he's a true freshman.
Well, we're gonna call that quarterback you then.
Yeah, he got in.
Yeah.
He got in because they
Yeah.
were blowing out the team.
Yeah.
And he went down. I think his first drive threw a touchdown pass. And you can see like the spurts of what he really has. He's like a Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Just his release, how he moves in the pocket, outside the pocket. He's good quarterback.
Yeah.
So we're gonna coin for Oklahoma. We want to get paid. We now changing your name to quarterback you. So we want our residuals off of that. If anybody, if y'all get T-shirts, QU. That's you.
All right.
Thanks, Travis. That was
You're
awesome.
welcome. You're welcome.
Hey, we
man.
finally got the man. We've been asking him for a long time.
Yeah.
And he's a killer trainer too.
Yeah.
If you ever
Yes.
need a trainer, he's a monster
guy.
trainer.
I agree.
He's a beast.
Right on. All right, man.
go.
I want to kind of piggyback off of that Heisman talk.
Okay.
Because as we look at the schedules, now Trevor Lawrence, great quarterback, obviously, but then we look at their schedule, they're playing literally nobody. So he's going to have 4, 5, 6 touchdown games with 3, 4, 500 yards in the first 3 quarters. Then everyone's going to go, oh, look at his stats, like give him the Heisman. But then again, who do you play? Where I feel like Jonathan Taylor should get some more love because he's going to play some really tough teams. Like you said, Jalen Hurts is going to play. He's got a couple top 25 teams that they're going to play.
Burrows.
Joe Burrow, him, like he's got to get some love.
Yep.
So I feel like down the stretch, if people are giving Trevor all this love,
The guy from Washington State is awesome too. I don't have his name on pen, but he's
Yeah.
a beast quarterback too. You got a lot of guys out there where the football, even though we say that the parity in college football is not there,
it's not
but
there.
the talent is, and there's a lot of great games, and there's a lot of guys as candidates to me that could easily be Heisman Trophy guys.
Sure.
It's just that we've been talking before. You got these cupcake schedules for Clemson and these cupcake schedules for Alabama, and then they're rested going into the playoffs, and then by the time they get to the playoffs, they may have played 2-3 games, and then they constantly repeating as champions, and then as a high school kid, you're thinking, this is the school I need to be at because all I want to do is win a championship, and you're really not saying that you're not playing against top competition, but I just don't like the way that those schools have that schedule. Again, if we're going to have schedules like that, it's got to be a 70-point quarter on it for you to mean anything.
Yep. Or you have to schedule a Power 5 team. Now, not like a bottom feeder Power 5 team. For example, because I'm an Ohio State guy, they played Oregon State. Last year was their non-conference Power 5 school, but Oregon State's a bottom feeder in the Pac-12. So I feel like, now I'll give UCF some credit. I just saw a thing the other day where they scheduled a home and home with a Power 5 school, which is good. They need that because if you go undefeated every year in Conference USA,
Don't mean nothing.
it doesn't mean anything. And you can sit there and claim that you guys won a national title. I understand that. Great for recruiting. I get that. But until you play like real schools, it's not going to matter. And that's unfortunate. So, and I also want to touch on staying in college football, not only with the schedules, as we just reiterated, scheduling better schools.
Right.
This is what I wanted to say. So, for example, Notre Dame played Georgia this weekend and lost. They lost by 6 points.
But you were scared. I had to make sure I text you because Mark was ready to eat you.
I know. And I saw him yesterday in the gym. I was like, hey, man, good stuff, good game. I wasn't like, rude or mean or anything like that, But even though they lost, they didn't drop very far in the top 25.
No.
So
and they shouldn't. They shouldn't because Notre Dame goes out there and plays good teams, and their head is on the gauntlet all the time, and that's no hype. Because of that, they should be always ranked at least within the top 10, top 12, because they're taking chances that these other powerhouse teams are not able to take. And I know that you're not a huge Notre Dame guy, but
and that's hype. That's super hype.
That
That's
is
a ton of hype.
That is hype. But out of respect for Notre Dame, especially watching them play, and Mark came to me and said, "So what do you think?" I had to get out of my hype of always seeing teams win before I give them any compliments. I thought they held their own. Fromm got hot in that Georgia game, and Georgia did what they were supposed to do, and that's no hype. So with that being said, hype-wise, I would like to see Notre Dame somehow stay within that 7 or 8 to constantly put pressure on teams, because then they'll go out there and play with the incentive of hopefully being in the playoffs, opposed to having them ranked so far out even though they're playing this competition. I don't want to see them go up against an Auburn, not saying they got Auburn on the schedule,
right,
but a major team, and not go out there with, hey, we need to win this game because this game counts against us if we don't get to the playoffs.
Now, speaking what we were talking about yesterday about breaking tradition. So college football is predicated, a lot of it is predicated on tradition. So Notre Dame always plays USC, always plays Stanford. There's other teams they always play. Well, Stanford's not that good this year. USC is, well, they're now ranked 21.
Right.
So they need to go out and maybe break tradition a little bit, and they have the power to schedule anybody because they're an independent. Now, granted, they're loosely in the ACC, so they got to play, I think, 5 or 6 ACC teams, very loose. Why aren't you playing Clemson? Even though you're in the ACC.
Yeah.
So they need to break their tradition and go out and find these big schools to play, so they can stay relevant.
So why, when they do the ACC commercial, why do they put Notre Dame in there? That throws me off all the time. I seen that ESPN commercial with ACC, and they headline with Notre Dame, and I'm thinking Notre Dame is in the ACC, and they're not in the ACC.
They are. They're loosely affiliated with them. They finally sort of manned up and joined the conference. They're still registered as an independent, but they're loosely affiliated with the ACC. So if you look at their schedule, right? So you look at their schedule, it's like they play Wake Forest, they play Virginia, where they're playing this weekend. They play like the bottom feeders of the ACC. Well, everyone's a bottom feeder in the ACC. They play Louisville, but wouldn't it be great if they played Clemson? Go schedule Clemson out there.
I mean, they're on prime time. If I'm on prime time, I need to be seeing Clemson, I need to be seeing LSU, I need to be seeing Georgia, I need to be seeing Alabama, I need to be seeing Florida when Florida is like on their game. I need to be seeing so whatever in the West that's strong. But you need to have heavy hitters. You get the national spotlight every Saturday. You need to have a opponent that's worthy of being on the national spotlight versus you.
Yeah.
So again, going back, no hype. College football needs to break a lot of these old school traditions.
They do, and with the bowls and everything too, they got to break all that in order if they want to have like the new regime and like the progressives and like people who keep watching their sport instead of like keeping them in the archaic dark ages of we must have the Rose Bowl must be on January 1st and must be Big Ten versus Pac-12.
Right. Speaking of that, remember we touched on that yesterday.
Yeah,
we hit on that yesterday about the traditions of the bowl games need to be totally.
Yes. Yeah, they're still like the money's still going to be there, but they're so hell bent on the New Year's Day 6 bowls have to be this. If you want to get like an 18 playoff, right, or a 16 team playoff,
which is 4 rounds total.
Yes.
Okay.
You're going to have to start. You're going to have to either make 1 game less in a regular season, so you can start the playoffs in early December. So you have your championship games for their conferences the first week of December. Then maybe take a week off to rest, or whatever like that. Then the next week you start your 4 weeks of bowls. So you have the 3rd week in December, the last week in December, the first week in January, and then now the title games always played in the first Monday of January, the second Monday. So there you go. And their argument is, the kids got to have, there's fall break and you got to have all that. Really?
You can start that right as soon as Thanksgiving is over. You start the first week, you give them 2 weeks to rest. Second round of the playoff starts like that second week in December.
Yeah.
The third round of the playoff, which is the heavy, which is the semifinal, or the championships leading to the championship game, the conference championships.
Yeah.
The third round.
Right.
That should be right between that Christmas, New Year's Day time, or even on New Year's Day.
Yeah, and they can still be your
the following week, then you go into your actual championship game.
Yeah.
And the championship game doesn't have to be Rose Bowl, Citrus, Orange Bowl. You let those bowls be a lead up to whatever the championship game. Matter of fact,
and just call it the championship game, not the Rose Bowl. Call it the championship game.
So,
they play it in Pasadena.
Right. So if you got FedEx, you got all these other places that sponsoring all these different bowls. Give them an opportunity to buy into the championship bowl. This bowl is presented by all of the sponsors of our playoff bowl series.
Yeah.
That way, money is still being filtered to to the sponsors, to the other bowls, and college football as a whole has its Super Bowl opposed to Rose Bowl, Fiesta Bowl, and we're only picking 14. At the end of the day, when we break down the schedules, it's kind of hard. We setting out, was talking yesterday. The schedules are too cream puff for me to constantly respect Clemson and Alabama. They go at it every year, but throughout the year, it's like a glorified practice. It's not really a season where you're going through the gauntlet every Saturday.
And then on top of that, after the championship games or the conference championship games are over, that's in the first week of December, we had this literally a 1 month lull because all those, helicopter Armed Forces Bowl and the Beef O'Grady's Bowl has Akron versus, Tulane. No one watches those.
Yeah.
Those start like mid December.
Right.
You can still have, if you do it how we are proposing it, you can have major college football games every weekend still and have college football relevant. Because who watches, the Sun Bowl when it's,
unless you go to this college.
When it's UTEP versus Fresno State. I'm not watching that.
Unless the uniforms are something out of this world, unless the commercials are going to be crazy, I'm not watching either. So, again, you take the teams, the 16 teams that make it, those 16 teams that do make it, you don't have them have an elimination.
Right.
If they lose, they lose. They done. They in their game.
Right.
All the other not mid-major colleges or even major colleges, they can have their own bowls that's just do whatever.
In the middle of the week,
right?
But have the big bowl games on Saturday, like we always watch during the year, during the season.
Because you're not gonna watch somebody like Oregon play against, like you said, El Paso State. And there's you're not gonna watch that.
Multi-retro school on a Tuesday
for a Chick-fil-A bowl, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, that's no hype.
That is all no hype.
Yes, sir.
Hype-wise, get Alabama out of there. I think we all have Alabama fatigue, but whatever.
I don't have hype-wise. I like the 4 best teams being there. It's just that when you look at it throughout the season, hype-wise, it's boring. But that's why I had to go into a different way of seeing competition by saying, okay, middle of the season or the beginning of the season, if we're going to play these cupcake teams, run up the score.
Yeah. And on top of that, the preseason rankings kind of do these top schools a disservice, or even like the middle range schools a disservice, because if you have Alabama ranked number 1, and then let's say they lose a game to a random SEC team, they're not going to drop very far, and they can still work their way back up. Even based on their strength of schedule. But if you have no preseason top 25, and then you week 6 rank them based on how they played or what teams they played, then by that logic, Alabama would start at 14 or 17 or something like that. And then they would have to go, oh shoot, now we have to schedule better teams at the beginning of the season.
Perfect.
You know what I'm saying?
Perfect. That's beautiful. And that's perfect, because that's exactly right. If you don't produce a ranking until after the 4th week of college football starting, you will force these teams to go out there and play against competition so that they can be considered for the ranking. And then after that, you got a whole nother month of you trying to stay in the top 25 or 16, and you got to fight. In order for you to move up, you got to make sure that you have the competition there that's going to allow you to stay in the ranking, similar to what Notre Dame is doing right now.
Sure.
And then if you get that and you stay in that 16, when it's time to pick the playoffs, then you kick the 4 rounds, and bam. I think we need to be on the board for college football.
Right.
What's the problem, man? We need to have
what phone call do we, or how do you apply for that job?
Yeah, we need to be there. I kind of see, I think we done solved all the world's problem, and that's no hype as far as with college football, because college football can make the world spin the opposite way. It doesn't turn them. So we need to do something about that college football. Now, what else we was going to hit on? We're going to hit on NFL too.
Yeah, we want to hit on that in our next segment, because I want to segue from these college quarterbacks into the professional ranks, because we had 8 new quarterbacks play on Sunday due to injury, and they were all young guys, and they all did a fantastic job. So we're going to segue that. So watch the next segment. So we're going to put this on pause for a second so we can go to the next segment. Okay, we'll be right back.